moving at a brisk pace. So thank you so much. Just to give you a quick rundown of what we have going on, we're going to talk today about a few key things as it relates to school protocol, basic stuff, and then we're going to get into CalSTRS 101. And then for some of you, I met with two of you already earlier throughout the day today to kind of fast track you further, especially if you're local, because we still have some of, even though we're not really in operation mode right now because it's the summer break, we've got 7 more staff meetings to get through. I know we have 4 more in the next 2 weeks, and we've got 3 more after that. So for next month, so we're really fortunate to have a great way to not just train you, but also get you paid. Some of you are already writing business. I congratulate you. Never happened this fast. So we're going to continue to expedite everything. And like I said earlier, I want to be very honest with you. What we're looking for right now is we're starting with those that are local for one main reason. I tried about 3 of the people that I was dealing with. We're going to be kind of our closers at a distance. I can't get a hold of them. That scares me. I completely understand that. I don't want anybody to overcommit to anything. Trust me, but it's pretty challenging where we have to play phone tag with potential deals we're trying to place or appointments to run them. And we have to do a much better job before we do anything remotely as to, the availability. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and contact some of our distant closers to get a better sense of when they are available, which is nothing wrong. There are people who have jobs, and that's fine. Don't risk your job. But if you want to try this on the evenings, then you will give you appointments that are only for the evening. And if there's daytime ones, we'll obviously give it to those that are available in the daytime. So I just don't want anybody assume anything and jeopardize their current stream of income with their employer or whatever the case might be. I just don't want anybody to do that. So that's why we've got 3 people up and running. And I'm very proud to say that this week we will have our second person from this very small group present. A group of teachers, and so hopefully that is able to happen as well. But one thing you'll see, I got about 5 different text messages throughout the day. I don't reply to most of them for the simple fact that it's all about using our time wisely. And so for me, I allocate certain time. Once I get enough people to fill that slot, I have other stuff going on in my life, obviously, that I need to focus on as well. So I don't want anybody ever think anything bad. It's just that I try to schedule things ahead of time so we don't have to just, anyway, so we're going to continue with this because, like I said, this is the fact that somebody has actually started to make money from our campaign. Usually it takes a lot longer. And it looks like we're going to go the route of accessibility, key thing. So we want to make sure everybody understands that part as well. But not because this is very formal. If you have any questions as we go or anything you want to chime in with, just unmute yourself. Unmute yourself, stop me, ask, elaborate, whatever. I'm not claiming to make myself available after these webinars because if everybody has just 3 quick questions, famous quick questions, I don't run a school. So please ask away right now. And like I said, there have been some of you we've played phone tag with, and I completely respect that, but we got to be very, very careful as to how and who we give these appointments because we want to find out where your availability is going to be like so we don't overpromise to the teachers or the principals or even to you. So anyways, without any further ado, let's go ahead and knock this out. Very, very simple. We're going to talk about module number 1, which is what I call the baby module, which is school protocol that everybody needs to be aware of. As of right now, I reached out to 5 of you. I never heard back in regards that told me they wanted to come and be an actual observer. Nobody replied. And so we only have 1 person. And let me see that person, who that person is. I think it's tomorrow's Atwater. No, we don't have anybody for Atwater for tomorrow. I spoke with somebody today.
It was me for Walt Whitman, Fernando.
Okay, who's that? Who am I speaking to?
Fernando Paez for
that's right.
Walt Whitman on Wednesday.
That's true. And so Whitman, yes, and there we go. Fernando Paez is the observer for that one. And so if you haven't been to one, if you've been to one, again, there's no sense of you going again because some of these are small. We're doing 1 continuation school. We usually don't do continuation high school. We just don't do them. It's not worth our time, not worth our money. To be in regards to if we're going to pump in a couple $100 worth of sports equipment, we want to talk to like tomorrow's elementary school, and then next week we have a high school of 45 teachers. I mean, that's what we're doing. Tomorrow, when the principal didn't want to tell me, and I told her, look, I really need to know because I don't know this school. I've never heard of it. I used to work in that area. And when she told me it's a continuation school, I was like, you know what? And I told her, we really usually don't work with you guys for one reason. She's like, let me guess, it's only 4 of us, 5 of us. I'm, well, there's probably 3 of you. You're kind of 4 with yourself, and that's fine. But we'll still come. We'll do it. Just, good karma. We'll donate it, because my selfish interest, and I have a very selfish interest, is to expose some of you, because it's coming down to, do you want to play or not? Because we got to get you appointed with carriers. We got to get your background going. And it's a whopping $75 that you keep hearing me say over and over, but there's no refunds. And so, the people that are getting the appointments this week already are the ones that are already appointed, or as National Life Group likes to do it, you won't get appointed until you get your first piece of business. So we're trying to get you your first piece of business to get the appointment going. And so, like I said, so just to be clear, nobody has claimed, of all the 5 people, 6 people that I texted, they told me they wanted to be an observer. Nobody's replied, which is fine. So as of right now, we have just Mr. Pius is one on Wednesday. So if anybody here that hasn't been to one wants to observe, because once you observe it, that's enough for you to decide whether you want to come on board. And that's what I tell people, because otherwise I would tell everybody, here's my link. Go to FFS or joinffs.com. Join. I don't want people to do that. I want you to see it, kick the tires, take us for a test drive, and see whether or not we're the real deal, because you have no clue how much we're going to scrutinize you to see if you're the real deal. And that's really what we want to do. So anyways, enough of that. So that's what we have for this week. Next week, we do have on the 30th and 31st, I'm going to be presenting at the LAUSD 66th Street School. And after that, my partner, one of my best closers and presenters and overall guy, his name is George Munoz. So he's going to be over at Westminster. So what we were thinking, I take 2 observers, he takes 2 observers, and then that's it. At that point, either A, you observed it, or B, you didn't make it to an event. So this is probably not for you, and that's okay, because like I said, everybody that has been to one of our events is in the running. You're in the running. I mean, here's another thing. The whole essence of webinars is we can hash things out right now. So get in the habit of muting yourself. Say, wait a minute, I can make it tomorrow, or whatever. After I hang up here, there's gonna be like 5, 6 people. Well, what time is it? Where is it? And I don't take those calls, just so you know. There's nothing.
Javier, did I miss something? I went last week. It's Rochelle.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Did I miss the link?
No, I'm talking about no. This
okay.
You haven't been to any of them.
Okay.
So yeah, if you've been to one, as a matter of fact, I'll give you a call later on about another opportunity we have for another event that we're going to have a couple of these pop out. I'll get back to you, but I'm talking about the people, because we still have some people that haven't been to any events. And so it's nothing like seeing it for yourself. Okay, so all right, cool. So we're going to go ahead and continue then. We're going to get right into the module number 1, and then we're going to fly into module number 2, because we're trying to get, again, some of these appointments handled ASAP. Now,
I have a question.
Sure.
This is Sheila. I am in the San Francisco Bay Area, so obviously I can't observe unless it's remote. What would you like for me to do?
What we're going to do is we're going to actually record. I think it's tomorrow's is going to be recorded, and we can't transmit live. We were trying to do that, but there's some issues with privacy, so we had to turn the camera around. Some of you saw my roll call presentation. I can't really show you the entire audience of cops because they are paranoid, like I told you. But for those that are not local, 100%, and I do mean 100%, understandable, and you will give you a solution. We don't want you to fly from Frisco down here and drive here, common sense driven. So don't worry about it. We'll take care of you. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Perfect. All right. And so, like I said, we are going to talk about this. And here's the way I'm going to just summarize the whole thing. School protocol revolves around safety, security, and my favorite, common sense. But it's amazing how a lot of people leave common sense at home or something, because if you saw what I've seen and what we've seen, you sometimes wouldn't believe it, but I still have to kind of insult our intelligence as grown men and women and go over some of this stuff as well. First of all, want to make sure you dress the part. Obviously, sometimes we got people showing up like they're going to go hang drywall, or they're going to go paint, or I don't know what the hell they're going to do. You want to dress in a professional fashion. Now, we don't require you to go all out in formal business attire. I'm not saying that at all, but we definitely want people to look like who you're supposed to be, which is a professional. And so for me, I always wear either long sleeve National Life Group or NLG shirt or a polo. It gets hot, this, that, whatever. So I like polos a lot, and that's fine as long as you got some slacks, dress shoes, and stuff like that. And for ladies, well, it's up to you, but we want to make sure that you dress the part, and it's very, very important. Also, it's super important that you always bring your NLG name badge with you, or if you don't have one, always request a visitor sticker at the front desk. And this is crucial because of safety. I don't think I have to go into safety at schools and so on, but we want to make sure that you get this done. So as people cross the finish line, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to give you your National Life Group or NLG lanyard and name badge to look something along what you see here right now, which is we call it National Life Group because that's the parent company, even though Life Insurance Company of the Southwest, or what everybody calls LSW, is who the teachers know. Because on a side note, LSW, again, National Life Group, is the largest company that manages money within the LAUSD. And whether you're any other district in California, LSW through National Life Group is the largest company that manages the 403B, TSA, or tax sheltered annuity market. And so that's why we go with them, and we go with them a lot. If you don't have a permanent name badge per se, make sure you always ask for the actual visitor name badge. So this is for those of you that are going to follow up in person. Now, what's the big deal about being there in person? If you're there for a staff meeting as a closer, you can immediately on the spot start passing out the appointment cards like we did last week for those of you that have been attending this as actual observers. And then the second component, which is even more important, we never pick up an incomplete appointment card, because when you look at it, when you pick it up and there's no appointment date and time, more than likely you're going to run that appointment. And so it would behoove you to give it back, hand it back over to the teacher and say, oh, can you do me a favor? Can you at least put down a tentative date and time, but just put something. We are getting rid of our Zoom only appointment cards because now we have more people in person, but we're still going to see them in actual. So what I'm going to do is let me just show you what I'm talking about on the name badge. So that when you're there, you have to know that you are there literally to work. And so what I mean by work is you want to eventually close a deal. Well, the best way, and I do mean the best way to close the deal, is to make sure that you always have. So let me just pull this up real quick so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. And also understanding when you are there, it's not just there to, help, if you would. We can do this on our own. We do this on our own, but we want to do everything we can to increase the likelihood, the chances of this actually going through. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and show you. Let me go ahead and pull this up on the screen. I know you can't see it, so bear with me so I can go ahead and pull it up and show you what I'm talking about. So let me pull it up. And so when you're there, part of the protocol, okay, here it is. Part of the protocol is quite simple. When we're there, the moment, and I do mean the moment the speaker, presenter goes up to do his or her part, your job is to immediately start handing or passing out the appointment cards, which are going to be what I'm going to show you right now. Now, the reason this is so important is because we don't want to do it early. We don't want to do it too soon, but we want to make sure that we get these things going. And so let me go ahead and show you what I'm talking about right here. And so if I'm the presenter and you're an observer or you're a closer, now, again, you don't have to be there. Obviously, if you're in San Francisco, you're not going to be at any of these events. You will get the appointments that we cannot place with people either in person or closers that are not here. Like up until now, that's the only way we've been doing it. But we've been talking to some people that are local and are actually showing up and willing to just show up in person. So let me just fast forward. And so when we get to the last part, this is a very short presentation. I'm going to go ahead and go into and simply say, when I'm done, something along the lines of when we get to key number 7, which is this one. Well, you see before you an appointment card. If anything here that I spoke to you about today speaks to you, and I'm sure a lot does, whether it be taking care of your retirement, maximizing your retirement, taking care of your loved ones, and making sure that, again, you maximize as much as you can of the best years of your life, do me a favor, go ahead and take one of those forms and just complete it. please print clearly, write down date and time, even if it's tentative. We're gonna be here tomorrow and the next day, and we can see you before school, after school, or during your conference period, in person or via Zoom. And of course, you're going to receive a free copy of the latest CalSTRS handbook, and you'll be entered into a raffle, which we're going to do right now. Here's actually a copy of the handbook you're going to get, which is 2022. This year's hasn't come out yet. And we're going to raffle off. Somebody here is going to get a well-deserved Starbucks card. So do me a favor, fill out the cards, select the date and time, even if it's tentative. You might not know your calendar, but just go ahead and do that. And once you go ahead and do so, then we'll go ahead and see you at whatever time you selected. Now, your job as part of the protocol that I'm referring to is once you go around and see people writing them, whoever presents will always say, we actually have a few of our CalSTRS experts with us today that will be seeing you for your appointments. Once you're done, just raise your hand and we will collect them. The reason we always want to collect them and tell them to raise their hand is because we want to pick, we don't want them to just pass it forward or towards the center of the room or any of that other stuff. What we want them to do is to hand it in, because if you pick up a card as you collect it and it doesn't have a date and time for their appointment, you're doing yourself a disservice. You want to simply turn around and say, do me a favor, can you just sit down, even like Javier said, or like she said, or he said, whoever the hell presented, even if it's tentative, please put down a date and time. And then another key is that you have to review it. And once you review it, you make sure it's legible, make sure that you can read the email, the cell phone number. Some of these doctors moonlight as some of these teachers moonlight as doctors or something, because I can't read their damn handwriting most of the time. And you want to make sure that you go ahead and do that as well. So again, this slide just talks about the badge, because you need to get that at the main office and do that. So let's wrap this up. Always arrive early and anticipate potential traffic and parking issues. Potential, because you might have none, and sometimes they do appear. Drop-off can be hectic, or pickup, I should say, at the end of the day for parents. Everybody, nobody wants to walk. They can live around the damn corner, and they still will drive to pick up their kid. And the reason I say that is because if we say, let's meet at 2:15 or 1:45 or 1:30, whatever the meetup time is, we have to go in together. It's a huge deal in issue for security reasons. And if you happen to pull up right as we're about to go in, we're not going to wait for you. And you should never wait for anybody else and risk, because somebody, and in the beginning it won't be you, but if you're the presenter, you're going to have to figure out the setup. Are we tapping into their existing, who the hell is this? Let me just go back over here. Somebody just walked in. And so anyways, are we going to go ahead and tap into their existing, let's just say they have a flat screen TV, or maybe they have a projector, or do you need to set up a projector? I mean, this stuff you have to know. And if you haven't presented, you don't know the stress that involves when they say, okay, you're up. And you're like, okay, well, what the hell do I do? How do I plug in? Or what am I using? Blah, 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 blah. And so again, just understand, don't ever take it personal. If you walk in and say, hold on, guys, I'm here, and nobody's around, just go back to your car and go home, or just wait until we're done, but stop texting us. Breaking news, anywhere in LA, you're going to hit traffic in the afternoon. And breaking news, parking sucks. I mean, that's just the way it is. And so I come from Ontario, so I'm driving an hour and a half and then 2 hours back, and I get there on time. It's realistic for people to expect them to get there on time. Better yet, get there early. Also, bring your laptop. 2 reasons. Number one is to backup. Sometimes devices, take a dump or something happens. And do you have one? Yes. So it's always nice for everybody to have a laptop in case we need it. And number 2, you will see people, meaning teachers, staff, they will stay after school and are willing to see you on the spot. And you want to be able to grab them and take them and present to them what you're going to present to them while they're hot. And so get in the habit of having a laptop with you. Now, just so you know, when we do the Presenters Academy, which we're not doing today, when I put you through the Presenters Academy, you're going to learn how you can be your own backup. In other words, I always carry my laptop with me. I use a MacBook Pro. I use a MacBook Air. Is what I use, because the battery lasts literally for days and days and days, and I don't have to worry about plugging in anywhere. Number 2, I always carry my phone So I have an adapter that I can present from directly from my phone without needing a laptop. And I also carry a tablet, which I can, again, present from the tablet up to their TV or up until their projector. And so I'm my own backup because, again, it's the way you want to do it. So make sure you do that as well. Other things to keep in mind is you never want to interact with any staff or students unless you're on a one-on-one consultation. I think this is kind of common sense driven. You have literally no business because the principals don't like this. We had one person 2 years ago that was let go because he was trying to date a teacher. And of course, she wanted nothing to do with it. We're like, again, what the hell are you thinking, man? I mean, of all the stupid things you can do, you're going to go try to and date a teacher and ask. And so that person's gone. So the point that I'm making is let's just stick to common sense, if you would, and just never interact with anybody, whether it's a student, especially a student. We have no business doing that. So there's literally absolutely nothing that could ever save you in regards to why you were interacting with a kid, whether it's high school or elementary. Just don't do it. Also, never wander the school grounds. Either we go to a staff meeting or we're going to the library or we're going to meet the principal here or a teacher in their particular room with the reservation. But you should never just take it upon yourself to go wander. Or maybe the break room, if you want to do that. And again, a big one, please never use the student restrooms. It's amazing. You got to be big boys and big girls and go before or go after the event. But if you have to, ask a teacher to walk you to the nearest staff restroom, and they will let you in the key, take care of business, and then come right back. My recommendation: go before, go after. We're not there for that long, but if you absolutely have to, and I'm sure it happens sometimes, then just make sure that whatever you do, you check in with a teacher, a staff member, and they walk you to wherever you're going to go. You're going to unlock the door, go in there, take care of business, and come back, and ideally they'll wait for you. But if not, know your way around, where you have to get back to. Always carry a digital copy of the approved vendor list. A lot of this stuff you're going to get as we progress. And in case you don't know what I'm talking about, it's basically this. And this is what I sent the principal last week we had a very good staff meeting, 13 appointments. And at the last second, she's like, well, can you just provide me with something? That's it. I sent her this via text. She says, I got you on the docket and you're good to go. And that's how simple it was. So you'll always have to have a copy of this if you're with the LAUSD. If you're not with the LAUSD, then you're going to have to make sure that you grab it from the 403B. And so for those that don't know about 403B Compare, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just come in here. And the reason we only use the 403B Compare is because of the simple fact that it is run, if you would, it is run by CalSTRS. It's provided by CalSTRS. And so what you want to do is you want to make sure that you can come in here and understand how this works, which we will show you. Again, right here, we're just giving you the general overview, but you're going to need to come in here and don't know, let's just say Bakersfield. I'm working Bakersfield. There's Bakersfield City. I'm going to click on that bad boy. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and look for one of the ones, or meaning one of the carriers that we are working. I see one. And so that's really what you want to make sure you do. You want to go ahead and have this available so that you can go ahead, if need be, do that. And so what I do, I click on National Life Group. There's the 403B Compare. There's the provided by CalSTRS. And there is all the information that you need, including the life insurance company right here, type of vendor, the name of the company, and so on. And this is the part right here that we want to go ahead and show. We have a vendor ID of 1036, and this is gold. This is absolute gold. Now, can anybody unmute themselves? Did you see what I just did? I want to make sure.
No,
I was just going to say Javier. Yeah.
Guys,
No.
you're going to have to please let me know. Okay, when for whatever reason it's not showing. So let me go back up over here, please. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back over here to my browser. And again, I'm going into the 403B Compare database. It's provided up on the upper right-hand corner by CalSTRS, as you see. And unmute yourself. I don't read the text or the chat, please. It takes too much time. Unmute yourself and speak
It's
up.
showing now.
Okay, perfect. So it's there. And so in this example, I'm going to go by employer. And so I was using an example of Bakersfield. So if I'm looking at Bakersfield, and there's Bakersfield City School District, I click on that, which is in Kern County. And right there, you're going to go ahead and be able to see what you need or what you need to show them. And that, of course, is going to be, I'm going to go under National Life Group, which is what I use, which is 1036. I click on National Life Group, and boom, there's the 403B compare, the CalSTRS, the vendor details, and there is the National Life Group, the member company, life insurance company of the Southwest. Most staff members know it as LSW, so you need to understand how to explain the correlation between LSW, Life of the Southwest, and National Life Group, which we will cover at a later time. But this is gold right here, because this is what will get you in. And so always, the way I do it, I just take a screenshot of it, and that's what you should also have along. I keep saying digital format because you don't have to have a printout. Those days are gone. You can just take a nice screenshot, save it into a folder, and then just keep all your stuff there as well. And so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go ahead.
Javier, I'm not trying to jump the gun, but so that is National Life Group. If that is the best plan for the clients, and that's what we want to select, is there any way that I can go with National Life Group privately and get out of my IMO so that I can put it under your name?
And what we're doing right now, we're waiting for the, his name is David Gilmore. He's the vice president of key accounts. We're one of the top 3 producers of business for National Life Group. So they do a lot of cool stuff with us. I put in a request for dual appointments.
Awesome. I've been stressed out about that the whole time. Thank you.
We'll know by tomorrow. Okay. And that would be the quickest, easiest way to deal with it. And that way we don't have an issue. They don't have an issue. And then you just stay where you're at. Of course, you just got to make sure you submit it under your proper credentials through us, which we're going to, of course, make sure you do. And so, yeah, so that will help you in that sense as well. So again, these are just an example of the resources that, most people that try to get into the school districts never even know exist. And I'll continue from there. So always confirm your appointments the day before, especially obviously whether you're doing it in person or whether you're doing it via Zoom. I don't know what software, what platform you use, but I use 2 platforms that always confirm or verify that everything's still on. It sends them a reminder 24 hours before, and then it sends them a last one 1 hour before. So there's always no excuse, especially if you're going to be driving anywhere. Don't drive anywhere until you confirm it. Now, if you do have an in-person appointment, make sure you always check, and I do mean always check in with the main office for reasons that I told you earlier before proceeding to a classroom, because the teachers just put down classroom 204, and that's fine, but we can't just walk into the classroom. We always want to swing by, either sign in, because most schools require you to sign in, or get a visitor badge, or if you have a name badge, get a visitor badge on top of your name badge, and that's fine. We want to play by the rules. Again, before you go to the classroom, be proficient with the 30-second commercial to generate no split sales. And what that simply means is that if you're in there to see Mr. Smith, and in the process, you go through I think it's whatever, module 6 or 8 about the 30-second commercial. What's really cool about that, you don't have to split anything with us for any business you generate on your own that we did not literally hand to you. We just had one last week. I think there was, I don't remember how many teachers there were. I want to say 20 or 22, but only 3 made an appointment. Now, this is not a bad thing. It just simply means that was the first time ever we have visited that school. And the first time is just not going to be as good as the second, third, fourth, fifth time. And so it would behoove you that if you get assigned that school, you're working it every week or 2, along with the other schools, to generate stuff in person. You don't have to split with us. And then finally, start and end with FFS-related business only. Until we get to know you, our primary concern is you closing business for us and you making money. Don't go in there and start offering, final expense and car insurance and any other stuff you might have. That's not what this is intended for, and that will likely get you booted. And usually people, or meaning the staff or the teacher, through the principal, will complain about something, and then that's when it all comes back to me. Because I have, if we're in the school, I have a good relationship with the principal, like I showed you last week from just the last one we did. from that principle as well. So starting then with FFS, and once we know what you're talking about in our world, we'll talk about other things that we don't need to take a split off. If you're bringing value to them, we don't have an issue, but not until you take care of our business first, and we know you know how to do that. Because if you're a great closer when it comes to Medicare, or when it comes to car insurance, and you can't close anything with us to save your life, it's not going to work for us, and that'll be the end of that. Always try to visit the police room, but only if you're police certified, which we have that coming up as well. So we're going to overlap these trainings. And the only difference, just so you know, the LAUSD, and this is not just LAUSD, most school districts, and I keep saying LAUSD, but I'm talking about any district that you might be working. It all works the same. They have middle schools and high schools have what are called police rooms, which are like a little police office, literally. And the reason you want to get certified is because we've been working with those people for 14, 15 years with the police, and there's always business to be had from within the police department. And we'll show you how to talk with them and how to get more business, meaning making more money. And so always swing by and ask them if the police, if any officers are in there, if they are, say hi. Hey, listen, I work with National Life Group. I'm sure you know Javier Rodriguez. Oh, yeah. And then just anything comes up, it's going to be yours. And that's very important to always do that. And most importantly, always start with how much time do I have? So in other words, always ask how much time you're going to have with the teacher before starting a consultation, whether it be in person or Zoom, especially in the daytime, because if it's in the daytime, they're more than likely going to be seeing you during what's called their conference period. And the conference period is really the time that union gives them to get ready for the next class or get ready for this or meet with the parent. And sometimes things do pop up. And so just because they're off for 45 minutes doesn't mean you have the whole 45 minutes. And we don't want to make it long anyways. I'm telling you, it's going to be super simple for you. Not easy, super simple. We're going to literally have an appointment tomorrow with the teacher from last week. And this is all you have to learn to fill out. And it's actually a script. Literally, you can't forget what to ask them, because first thing it tells me here is, okay, what is it about the presentation that intrigued you the most? Great. What are you doing to prepare for your retirement right now? Oh, I have a 403B. Oh, okay, good. How much? About $400 a month. Great. And then it's literally a script questionnaire that you go from the top to the bottom and you're done. 40 minutes, 25, and we really talk a lot, but never beyond that. And that's what we're going to do. And so anyways, and when in doubt as it relates to the school or to the campus where you're at, always call me on my personal cell phone. A lot of you have both my personal and my work. And my work number is through an app that doesn't always come through immediately. And so if you're in a jam, something goes down, then you definitely want to make me aware of it. And this is my actual cell phone, personal cell phone number. But again, this is when you get in the jam that I can go ahead and help you with that as well. So that's really all there is. Oh, any questions about this module before we get into the second one real quick? Anybody?
Do you know how many other, not that it matters, because I know we play our game, other insurance companies come in and see the LAUSD?
Great question. And the answer is, just like with us, there's been an exodus of companies that come in. Before, we're talking about Aflac, Colonial. We're talking about, I would say, 6 companies that work the LAUSD. And what happened to us is what happened over there. Everybody got the hell out of this when the pandemic happened, when the Zoom kicked in. And then because the way health insurance, supplemental insurance, and Medicare, and just insurance as a whole, we took a hit in regards to what we call the target premium. All these companies that were insurance related saw their income drop so much that they are pulling out. And so that's the beauty about working anywhere, that most again, I showed you the LAUSD. Oh, no, I didn't show you LAUSD. I'll show you here. I did show you one of them. Let me go back over here. Before, this was made up of 2 pages. And of these right here, half are gone. And of the other half, we're the only ones that actually have boots on the ground anymore. So just like some of you, you're in San Francisco, you're in other parts, you're not going to walk in. But I will tell you that the success rate of face-to-face in this kind of business, especially when you're presenting to the room and when you're meeting with the teacher, the closing success rate is so much higher in person. I'm just going to tell you that than if just strictly Zoom. First of all, a Zoom appointment is the easiest thing to blow off. they just don't reply to you, and they don't show up. I mean, in person, when you're letting them know, just confirm me tomorrow because I have you for period 3, but at period 2, I'm gonna be with Mr. Smith a few rooms down. It's a completely, not only that, it's more efficient. And so when I'm up there saying we're gonna be here tomorrow and the next day, so we encourage you to go ahead and make an appointment either tomorrow or the next day, because we're going to be here anyways. And so we will, meaning the presenter, will do everything we can. Now, if we take that back and say, okay, like today, 5 people I never heard back from about potential leads that I have. And the reality is that if I tell them somebody's going to contact you, let's see, today is Monday, maybe Tuesday, but by Wednesday, they should be calling you or texting you. And then you're busy doing whatever you got going on, and you don't contact them until Thursday. I mean, those appointments turn into just leads. And I don't like dealing with leads. I like preset appointments. And so that's why I keep saying that if you have a job, I'm fine with that. Just make sure you don't take any of our date time stuff if you know damn well you're not going to be available. It's going to show anyways. It's going to show because we follow up with every single teacher to say, hey, just wanted to make sure your appointment got booked as you requested, and so on. Or if they already booked it, just wanted to see how it went. Well, she rescheduled and I haven't heard back. Really? Okay. Well, I mean, there we go. And so that's what you want to make sure you do. But great question. Anybody else, please, before we go into the second and last component module for tonight, anything about this? All right. Well, if no one has any questions, then I want to go into this one. And this is going to be module 2, which is CalSTRS 101. And by 101, we're talking about literally 101. We're not going to blow you away with, complicated stuff, but it is stuff you need to know, because when it comes to the schools and school district employees throughout all California, just so you know, this is not an LAUSD thing. Every single school district in California and in most other states. But in California, 2 types of employees. Number 1, certificated, and number 2 are classified. If you don't know what category of the person you're dealing with is, ask them. Because if you're dealing with somebody who's classified, we primarily, like every other company, we don't deal with them a whole lot. Who can tell me the difference between the 2? Anybody know? Anybody? I know we have some 403B people here. Certificated.
Yes, I do.
What is it?
Certificated is a teacher, and classified is all the other employees.
Perfect. Okay, correct. And so what that simply means is that if you're certificated, it just means any employee in a position requiring certification requirements, meaning teachers. So there's 2 types of employees: teachers, which are certificated, or we call them credentialed, teaching credentials, and then there's everybody else: the janitor, the office people, the people in the cafeteria, because nowadays they don't even cook anymore; they just heat stuff up. It's gross. And so, anyways, and so the people that are working in there, the janitors, anybody who doesn't hold teaching credentials, they all fall into the certificate. Now, why do we deal primarily with, and this is for anybody that's here, why do we deal primarily with certificated employees? Anybody know? And if you deal with both, maybe
I do.
Go ahead.
Because certificated, they don't get Social Security and they need a retirement. They get CalSTRS. Is that why? Or maybe they make more money.
Everything you're saying is correct. It's real reasons, but the real reason is that it takes probably on the classified side of the house, they make on average around 30% of what a teacher makes. They just don't make a lot of money. If you're meeting with a teacher, they're probably going to be making around $70,000 to $75,000 a year. If you're talking to a classified employee, they're probably making closer to $24,000 to $25,000 a year. Now, will we go ahead and work with them? Of course, but here's the problem. The classified side of the house does not have staff meetings like the certificated. Does that make sense? And so the certificated, because part of their certificate requires them to be what they refer to, meaning in the school districts, professional development meetings, or PDMs. Classifieds don't have any of that. I'll give you an example. If you work in the cafeterias, when we used to work them, They all want to know about what we do. They all want a better retirement, but most of them are part-timers. And I do mean part-timers. They just don't make a lot of money. The rate of chargebacks, meaning surrender, very, 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 very high with classifieds. So most companies, unfortunately, now you could if you want to, the more power to you, but I would say that the average certificated employee, when it comes to like an IUL or a 403B, they're pulling between, I would say, $250 to $400 a month. The average classified, about $75 a month. And so, again, you're just going to have to choose. Now, if you have a lot of time, we'll take both. But we focus, now, if you were to ask me for help on presenting to classified employees, I wouldn't even know where to begin. They don't meet with them. They don't meet. All the cafeteria workers are part-time. Some come early in the morning to start warming up the food for breakfast, and then the others leave. And then at 10, the second half shows up. I mean, and they literally work. They report to their workstations and start working. They're not like teachers that sit in a library or classroom and we have them for 45 minutes and then we get 10 minutes out of that. I mean, any questions about that? Thoughts, questions for anybody of you that have worked this market? Anybody? What has been your experience with? Have you ever worked with classifieds?
So if you have a friend that's a teacher and that's friends with, the cafeteria lady, and she gives a referral and says, we just met Rochelle, you're saying we can't sell them like a term policy from National Life?
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying you could do it.
Yeah, it's just not an IUL. It might be too expensive, but we could.
Or if you're going to do that, like you said something very key, and that is if the teacher happens to be with the cafeteria worker. I was in, if you remember that picture or video I showed you guys of the presentation, I did at Evergreen with 45, we thought it was 42 teachers. Out of that, we ended up with 13 appointments. 2 of them were from classifieds. There were 2 girls way in the back, really young girls. And the question was, can classifieds do this? And my answer, of course we can. And it just so happens that they were in the meeting, but I don't know where I would have caught them or where I would have met with them to present to them if they were, because classifieds, they don't get the breaks that the teachers do. They're in the, while we're having our staff meeting in the actual, let's just say auditorium, well, guess what? The classifieds are holding on the fort at the main office. They can't leave their post, is what I'm saying. But yeah, you're right. Maybe a term, maybe this. As long as you have them in front of you, the answer is yes, you can do that as well. Anything else from anybody as I continue? Now, here's where we see the big difference. Classified employees pay into the classified employees, they pay into the California Public Employees Retirement System, or CalPERS. Certificated, they pay into the California State Teachers Retirement System, or CalSTRS. So the question is, CalSTRS or CalPERS? CalPERS, the average CalPERS pension is literally about 1/5 to 1/4 of what the CalSTRS is for the reasons I just gave you right now. And so if you're talking to a teacher, and you're talking to a teacher because it's a teacher in the classroom and so on, sound as educated as possible, because you're going to let them know that you're there for their for their consultation to maximize their CalSTRS. You don't want to say that to somebody that's certificated or vice versa. And so this is where you are going to have to learn the basics and understand one thing, that whether it's CalSTRS or whether it's CalPERS, they both will have a gap, period. And so when somebody asks you what you do, well, again, part of the 30-second commercial is we help you fill in that gap as much as possible. What gap are you talking about? And then, of course, we're going to talk about that in just 1 second. Now, both pensions work in a similar fashion, if you would. You take their years of service times the age factor that comes directly from CalSTRS or the CalPERS handbook, which gives us a payout factor. This is the formula that you're going to have to master and then apply, whether it's a teacher or whether it's a classified employee, a cafeteria worker, a librarian, the janitor. I don't know who was with me. I remember a few of you were with me last week. I know Rochelle was there, and I know who else? Monica was there. And do you guys remember the guy that walked us in? Do you guys remember that?
Yes.
What did he say? Do you remember what he said?
No.
you got to listen, because when we walked in, he looked at me, he looked at the shirt, he says, "Oh, you guys are the retirement people." And I go, "Yes." And his question was, "I'm about to retire." He said about 34 years or whatever. And what he said was, "I would like to meet with you guys as well." Nobody got his name and number. Nobody, including myself. But what I'm saying is that's an example of when we would, because even if he is certificated, more than likely, especially with him having over 30 years, even if he has a small 403B, let's just say, guess what? We can help him roll it out of a variable one and put it more into an index one, so he only goes up and never goes down and all this. So whenever you're at any of these events, don't make the mistake that a lot of people make. They get caught up in the moment. They're shooting the breeze with each other. Listen, you better be there to make money. You better be there to make money. Otherwise, you're just going to go along for the ride, and they're going to walk you in the front door and out the back door and make no money, and you wonder what the hell happened. We have to be there with very specific, and I do mean very specific, intentions of marketing ourselves. And so the best thing you can possibly do is walk out of there with 3 appointments from the teacher staff meeting and 2 from people you met as you walked in or walked out. People do that all the time because those you don't have to split. So we want to make sure. And we'll know it because if you talk to the janitor, like this guy, whip out your phone and say, "Look, I'll go ahead and let me send you the CalPERS manual just so you can kind of know exactly where you stand. And also so I can meet with you, maybe even via Zoom." And then you just whip out your phone and say, "Look, let me send you my contact info." We never carry business cards. We never, ever, 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 ever give out a business card because they're trash. What we always do is say, "Here, let me send you my information." "Okay, what's your number?" And then you just simply say, "Okay, by the way, what's your full name?" And you do that, and you have their information, and we'll show you how to turn yourself into a marketing machine versus just going through the motions as well. So I'm going to use this that actually comes from the actual presentation. Let me back out of this and pull it up so you can see what I'm talking about. Now, this is the actual presentation that we do. Here it is. And so this is the actual presentation that we do with the teachers. This is the actual we do when we do the staff meeting. And the way it looks is very simple. Let's just say we have Jane. She's a teacher. So she's what? What is she? What kind of employee is she?
She is certified.
Certified.
Certificated.
So thank you.
Certificated.
That's why we're here, guys. We're here to learn. So please, at least try. There's a lot of people, as you'll see, that don't even bother to mute themselves and just try. There's magic in trying. She is certified to a certain degree, but yeah, she's a certificated. So we know she pays it what?
75,000 up to.
CalSTRS.
CalSTRS.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. We were here to learn. So she's going to be into CalSTRS. And so when we do her calculation, when you do her calculation, you're going to have to learn to do this. So she's going to have 29 years of service, which is just based on her wanting to retire at 60. Now, directly from the CalSTRS handbook, her H factor at age 60 is 2%. And so we multiply the years of service, which are 29, times the H factor, which is 2%, which will give us a payout factor of 58%. The PF or payout factor is crucial because you're going to need to translate that into money, into income.
Donnie, every day, all day. Have you noticed that? He's trying to hurt somebody, get your ass away from him so he can play by himself.
All right. And so somebody's still muted. And so the reason that I share this with you is because, hold on, let me just bring this down while we meet everybody. Okay. And so this is the payout factor or the PF. This is you. This is what you're going to have to do. That if for whatever reason, you can't, well, I don't know why you can't do it. So I'm sure you're going to do it. So I'm not even going to go there. But that's what you're going to have to do in about 3 minutes. And we're going to show you how simple it is. And so what I'm going to do here is put numbers to it. So you can kind of see this in action, if you would, for lack of a better phrase. And so here it is. Let me just go back over here. Sorry. And so here it is. And so what you're going to do is we have Jane, again, she's 31. So when we break it down, We're going to take the average of her 3 highest grossing years during her career, which happens to be, let's just say, $90,000 a year. So we're going to take the payout, we're going to take the payout factor, or PF, which was 58%, which means she's going to get a pension of $52,200 a year. Now we divide that into 12, and then that comes out to around $4,300 a month. And the question is that adequate today? I can tell you right now that every single time we've asked that, the answer has always been not just no, but hell no. Now, if you can't live off $4,300 today, imagine in 20 years. And on top of that, what we want to make sure that you do is get your unfair share of the pie, because the 100% at the top represents the income you're used to right now. When you retire, you're going to get 50, 65, 80 maybe, hopefully. But as we saw earlier, she's going to get just under 60%. So there's going to be the pension, and then there's going to, which is taxable, by the way. So out of the 4,300, we got to take taxes out of that. And then that gives us this massive gap. So how do we make up the gap? Now, question, if you retire today, would you rather retire with just 58% of your income or closer to 100% of it? And they always say, well, duh, 100%. So the way we make up that gap, historically speaking, is through our 403B contributions, maybe a 401k, and IRA, and other qualified products, if you would, which are taxable and decrease over a lifetime. So if you retire with 100, 200,000 in your 401k, 403B, or whatever, as you draw money from it, the balance gets smaller and smaller until the well runs dry. What we're going to talk to you about is a product that can give you lifetime income that's tax-free, with long-term care riders and some of the products on top of that, which is simply incredible. And you got them. When you show them this secret weapon, at this point, you really got them. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift gears back to the other one here. And so you understand what I'm referring to about that. And so that's what the whole CalSTRS is about, knowing that they have a great thing. A pension is something that most other people don't have. But that's simply not enough. It's the gap. It's the slice. That chart, by the way, which I have my appointment with that teacher tomorrow. And forgive me for not having it.
Can you go back one page, Javier?
For which one? For this?
That one right there. Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
And so when you combine that with what we call the areas of concern, and so what we did is we asked everybody, let me go back over here. We asked everybody, okay, well, what we have here, and we give you the script. While I input these numbers, I have here a list of some of the top concerns our clients have voiced to us throughout the years. Now, Mr. and Mrs. Teacher, can you do me a favor? Take a look at it and select the top 3 that apply to you. And that's what we are going to work. So let me ask you guys, just one person, just read it, because you need to know what the hell you're giving people, what you're asking people, and how to make it work for you, and how to cash out and all this other good stuff. So by you reviewing it real quickly here, one person, give me the top 3 that apply to you in your life, please.
Things have changed. When I started, we didn't.
So give me the top 3 that apply to you. Top 3 by numbers. You see 1 through 12. Give me like number 5, number 8, whatever. Just give me the top 3.
Like, especially when
I'm concerned about paying for my child's education.
we don't.
Okay, give me a number. Give me a number.
Oh, Number sorry. 7.
I heard 7. What else?
2.
2. What else?
Number 5.
Okay, and 5. Perfect. And so what we do at this point, what you're going to do is you're going to just run the numbers like I showed you the other day, the illustration. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here at the end, and here's the closing. At this point, what I'm going to do, okay, well, let me see if this one even has the closing for you so I can show it to you. Let me see if it's the areas of concern. This is the CalSTRS worksheet that you're all going to receive. Now, if you notice, last week, when I asked the staff, the teachers, I asked them a question that kind of disturbed them, which is what we want to do. Because if I'm starting my presentation, like whoever comes and sees it tomorrow or the next day, I'm going to ask them, just out of curiosity, how many teachers here got hired? If you can just raise your hands, how many here have been hired after January 1st of 2013? Most hands will go up. And the reason that is crucial is because all teachers that were hired after January 1st of 2013, remember how Jane had a payout factor of what?
58%.
Yeah, but what was the H factor for her though? Her H factor.
60.
2%.
2%.
It was 2%.
Oh, that.
Now,
Mhm.
she was young. She got hired after January 1st of 2013. So at 60, her payout factor was 2%. If it was real life, her payout factor today is what?
1.76.
1.760. So if you got hired after January 1st of 2013, you need to let them know your H factor is actually dropped, meaning you're going to get less. So the gap is going to get bigger. There's a lot of stuff to make these people cry. We don't want to do that. But again, this is, the questionnaire you're going to ask them, part of script number 1. Very simple question. What is it about the presentation that intrigued you the most? Blah, 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 blah. Great. Now let's take your CalSTRS, CalPERS, which now you guys are experts in that, I'm sure. You hand out the questionnaire, the areas of concern questionnaire, which is the actual script. You have this in front of you, so you can't forget. You can't forget. And then you go ahead and let them know about that to inform them of what options you have. Now, you go ahead and see here. Now, we give you the script again when talking about the pie. People say, well, what if I forget? Well, you're not going to forget, because if you forget, you read. You shouldn't be remembering. You should be reading. Your piece of the pie represents 100% of your current income. We have already established that your CalSTRS will put you right there at the percentage of your projected income, which is great because it gives you a lifetime income that you can never outlive. However, you will still have to pay taxes on it, which is very true. So that leaves the gap that you are responsible to fill. That's why people contribute to TSAs, 403Bs, and 401Ks, IRAs, and so on to fill in that gap. The challenge is that when you retire, those plans are 100% taxable, and that they are decreasing assets, meaning that you could outlive them. Very, very true. The next time we meet, I will show you an option to fill that gap. And that will give you income for the rest of your life that is tax-free. When would be a good time for us to meet again? Does that flow make sense to you guys? That's all we did the first appointment. It's scripted. We will show you how to do the math. I don't think you need to be an Einstein, for God's sakes, once you understand the concept, which is what we'll train you on. We have the hypothetical returns. We have this. We have that. Again, these are just samples, because what happens is that when you play the role, when we do your audition, whoever your trainer is going to be, it's not going to be me, it's going to be somebody else. We have dummy cases where we give you, we're not messing with you. We just give you their age, how much they make, and your job is to do this whole thing. And if you don't pass it, well, you don't pass it. We always use the same number, so make sure that, again, everybody's getting a fair shake and all this other good stuff as well. And so anyways, okay, you said your text, so I'm not going to get into this too much, but the last thing I wanted to show you is that when I come back to the areas of concern, like I was telling you earlier here, and actually they're bigger over here, right here. Now, this is when you're doing it via Zoom, you use this big one. Okay, obviously it's easier for them to read. Okay, well, Mr. Teacher, I just want to recap that in the beginning you told me that you were concerned about paying for your child's education, which is a very legitimate concern. Well, we gave you that by having access to 90% of the cash value. Your child is only 2 today, and by the time that your child gets to college age, there's going to be around $65,000 that you can access tax-free to help either offset or pay for college for your child. And the best part, because we're going to put it inside of the life insurance policy, it doesn't count against them for any type of college financial assistance. So you wanted number 2, the good news, we gave you that. You also said number 5 was important to you, that you were concerned of your retirement savings plan won't meet your retirement income needs. Because as you know, your money, based on how much you're going to have at this point when you retire, is going to run out in about 6 years. Well, guess what? Here we're showing you how to get $2,200 extra, income tax free, every month until you die. So when it comes to number 5, we gave you that too. And then lastly, You say you wanted to learn more about additional savings programs for retirement. Well, this whole thing, you don't have to choose which side you fund because $1 is split many ways to address your concerns. So we gave you that as well. Now, the next step, of course, is to apply to make sure that you do qualify for this, blah, 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 blah. I just need some basic health information, checking account information. And in about 3 days, I'll be able to let you know whether or not you were approved. Fair enough? Yes. Perfect. If you give me 5 minutes, I'm just going to fill out the, I'm going to pull up the actual application website. It's paperless, and we'll wrap it up. And you're done. Does that make sense? I mean, I'm just curious if you kind of see the flow. This is 19 years. Now, what we are doing is we're modernizing everything because a lot of this stuff wasn't designed for primarily Zoom. So we're giving you both. If you have a Zoom appointment, you use this one. If you have it in person, we're giving you the paper, have it in front of you. You can't screw it up as long as you don't screw up the sheets of paper in a row, keep them in the right order, staple them, just fill out the first one, next one, and then you're done for the first one. We're just at the discovery, needs analysis basis. But it's not that because every damn life insurance company does that. It's how we get in there. It's how we keep you formatted. It's how we keep it flowing, moving. It's how we save you from yourself. That if you're running your mouth for more than 20 minutes, something's very wrong. You shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be doing that because you should let them get back to that, get an appointment, and we're going to do that in our upcoming modules as well. Does anybody have any questions? What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this down for right now and see if anybody has any questions before we wrap it up. Again, the calendar, I've shown it to you already. And see.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
This is Sheila. I wanted to find out if we are allowed to use the track system that LSW has.
And the answer is yes. This is where this comes directly from the track system, meaning the areas of concern, as I'm sure you've seen on the lower right-hand corner. If you want to do that, nothing will speak louder than your closing ratio. If we give you 3 appointments and you close none, something's wrong. So it's up to you, as long as you know what you're talking about, and you're showing that by having and maintaining your persistency rate. Persistency rate is how much of the business you write up stays on the book for the first 2 years. And so these are all things that kind of speak for themselves. But if you want to use tracks, if you want to do that, the only challenge with tracks, I will tell you right now, impossible to do it in 20 to 25 minutes. The first appointment, impossible. But if you've got a way and you want to try it, go for it.
I do that right now. I actually use the track, and yeah, you're right. It is pretty time consuming, but after a while you get used to it, and they get to see the pension report.
Sure.
So yeah.
Yeah. So, the only challenge you have, like I said, because I know tracks very, very well. We used to actually before give everybody the whole packet. I don't know if you ever got your hands on the packet for tracks, the whole thing. Yeah, we could still get them wholesale for free from National Life Group. We never were able to system. It's very informational, very good. I love it, but we have never been able to get people to use it in the amount of time. And not only that, but you're going to have to become a very good student of that whole process. You know what I mean? And we offer zero support in it. We offer zero support when it comes to tracks. It is super. I mean, I think in the perfect world, it will be more like a personal practice. You know what I mean? Where I call somebody in, spend an hour, get to know them, making sure that, again, we find out what stage of life and we just don't have the type of luxury. And like I said, your closing ratio will speak for itself very, very loudly. But any other questions from anybody? I don't want to end it without anybody.
I have a question, and then I'll talk to you offline too, because I don't want to bring something else involved in that. But so they will have in addition to, right? So we can do the life insurance and keep the 403B in place.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
the number one challenge you're going to find with the 403B are surrender charges. Remember, up until a few years ago, California allowed surrender charges of up to 16 years, which I always thought was highway robbery. I mean.
But our goal is just to have it in addition to, so the 403B, they can keep that in place, and then we write another separate National Life Group policy,
and
right?
if need be, they could just bring down their flow and how much they're putting into the 403B and redirect it towards the IUL.
Okay, yeah, and then if you don't mind, like afterwards, not tonight, to take another call, yeah, Okay,
Alright.
because I just needed to demystify what I was told by somebody else. Okay.
That's fine, perfect. So, okay, I'll go ahead and I'm putting my list of, we need to clarify that with you. Perfect. Let me see if anybody else has pending. Unmute yourself, guys. Please unmute yourself. It takes so much time to read the darn text messaging. I asked to attend Wednesdays, Whitman High School. Okay, now here's the key that I will, who's this? First off, Reginald. This is Reginald. Here's what I recommend, which I'll talk to you, I'll give you a call, but what I will recommend, always make sure that we can touch base. I know that I'm busy, you're busy, I get it all, but when it comes to a lot of these moving parts, I don't ever want anybody to feel left out, if you would, in the sense that text me, call me, or whatever you need to do, but let's keep the conversation going, because to be honest with you, if you're not on the calendar, we used to put the calendar up and then people started messing with it so everybody could see it, and of course we just don't do that anymore. We learned a lot of lessons throughout the year. So, and this is for Wednesday at Whitman. Okay, we still have room for Whitman, so I'll put you down for that. Anybody else? Questions? Okay, I got you, Monica, Monica for what? 66. Perfect. Okay, I'll put you down for that one, and I'll give you also a call. Monica, I know that we played a little phone tag, but I wanted to talk to you about observing tomorrow if you could. If not, it's no big deal, but that's why I was trying to get a hold of you, so that if you want to start presenting or try, we can fast track you for next week if you feel you're up to it. Now, we haven't done the personal webinar that I wanted to do to show you how the flow of the presentation, because the biggest thing is that it's very tricky because it's very deceiving. You got to do it in 10 minutes. And most people, when I first give them the PowerPoint, they'll be like, click, okay, and here's us giving this click. It's intended to be like boom, 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 just flashing by to get to the meat and potatoes. And where you will spend the bulk of your time is the closing. That's the dagger. That's the part when that yellow appointment card comes up. And so that's where the part where you really want to just take a second and simply say something that now we have the notes at the bottom. Turn around and read the damn thing, right? Make sure that you go ahead, put your name, your phone number, print clearly. And even if it's a tentative, because we're going to be here tomorrow and the next day, and we can see you before or after school or during your conference period, ideally in person. But if you need to see us via Zoom, we do that for you as well. But just do me a favor. And the reason we say that is because it's amazing how sometimes people request 6 a.m. appointments, before their day starts with their kids and all that stuff. Some people require 10 p.m. or in the middle of the day. And so we're always looking for people that are available. I know some of you are not available in the daytime. I figured that out in like 30 seconds, okay? So you will never get anything that's in the daytime. And so it's just me finding out that you are available in evenings. And that's fine. Now your window of opportunity just went down, of course. So you have to, understand that. That's fine. It's something to supplement what you got going on. Some of you are gung-ho. Let's do this. Well, that's fine. Then, of course, in person and all everything else comes into play as well. 67.
I am available after the call, but also I was busy today trying to get appointed because I have a couple meetings already pending for this week, and instead of running my usual other companies, I just wanted to run with run illustrations and see where it is.
Yes,
so what I could present to.
Yeah, and remember, if you get into a jam, we have the hotline with National Life Group, which what I keep telling everybody. National Life Group is the one that I tell you I will back you with, because the second one is Anico, which we have a good relationship. But when it comes to Columbus Life, I've never submitted business to them. As a matter of fact, today my one of my leads or appointments that I gave to somebody, they got declined because of their health by National Life. They went to Columbus Life and they got approved. So we went there. So I'm still getting my split. But the point that I'm making is that in that scenario only, I do have my writing numbers with them, but I don't have any experience with them. So like with you, if you have any issues with National Life Group, let me know, or I will give you the number to the Vice President of Key Relations for National Life Group. Let them know, hey, I'm working directly with Javier. We just had somebody who got denied because of something that happened in the past, but I know the person. I need him on my team. And boom, just got approved by National Life. They made 1 million exceptions with him. And I want to make sure that we do the exact same thing with anybody here. So don't work too hard if it comes to that. Also, somebody's asking a question who are presenting only. you're describing people who are presenting only. That isn't something that all of us will be. If you are up to presenting and you're interested, we've only spoken about closing. That's what we need right now. But Monica and a few other people have voiced their desire to also present. First of all, because they've been to an event in person and they know what presenting is. It's not exactly rocket science, but for some people, they're terrified of public speaking, and I would never tell you to do it. But if you feel that you want to learn how to present, then what I'm doing is I'm putting this week, by the way, I'm putting together a personal academy, is what I call Presenters Academy. All the little things that play a role into you having what I call a winning presentation. Winning presentation means you got appointments. That's the ultimate way to grade yourself as a presenter. Not that you come down and say, man, I was high educated. Like, we don't have time to educate. We don't have time to inspire. We can do a little bit of all that, but ultimately we want to make money. And the only way we make money is by helping them improve their financial outlook. And the only way we do that is, of course, by having them generate an appointment. So if somebody here wants to be added to our potential or soon-to-be presenters, then I'll add you. Just let me know.
Yeah, I'm interested too. I'm Fernando. I'm interested.
Okay, that's fine. And so
I'm interested too, Fernando. Not Fernando, Joy Bell.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No worries. And yeah, okay, that's what I'm saying. Because remember, like the downside, Marcela, hold on one second. Oh my God, hold on one second. Oh, sorry about that. My granddaughter was just leaving, but I was trying to say about. Anyways, and so the point that I'm making is that it's I don't want to distract anybody, because the main thing is the main thing. Now, I will tell you this: if you know, especially starting with those that are local, those that have been to the actual presentation, those that know they want to eventually present, and you know that this is nothing but practice season. Our goal is to have a minimum of 200 appointments in the fall. In the fall, by the way, starts August 15th. When schools come back, LAUSD and most other school districts as well. So we want people to be up and running and ready 100%. Now we have, so you saw the calendar. We have some stuff in June. We don't have anything in July yet, but LAUSD does have summer school that we're going to offer to come do our thing as well. But come August, again, until November, we're not going to take on any new people, because that's not the time to do that. This is the time to learn, try, screw it up, we help you, and all that other good stuff. This is the time to do that. So if you meet the criteria and you know that, and you haven't joined yet, do me a favor then, and we have to start to make sure that we can get you appointed with one of our carriers. Then it's the time to do what some of you have done, which is go to Join FFS, and I'll even go there with you just to show you, make sure that you get this right, because the appointments are taking a little longer than we would like for them to take right now, and you don't want to wait for the first appointment and you're not able to do that. So I'm going to a website, joinffs.com, joinffs.com, and especially if you're local, I'm clicking on this. It'll bring you to this website right here, and when it brings you here, make sure you see my picture in the upper left-hand corner, and then you're going to click on the Join Now. What this website is going to do, first of all, you'll see my recruiter code in there already, so don't mess with it. My name is there, don't mess with it, but it will ask you to create an account, and eventually it will ask you for your social. The reason for the social is it's going to use it for two things. Number one, the National Producers Database, to make sure that you do have an actual active life insurance license. If you don't have one, don't do this. We don't. This is not for you. If you don't already have an active life, don't do it, because you're gonna have to do more. Once you do that, it'll bring the cost to $75. Once you do that, it's going to take your social and start the background or the background check, if you would, with that as well. So if you haven't done it, do that. You need to start doing that already, because the appointments are taking a little longer, and it'll just walk you through the whole thing. Again, I've been nothing but upfront with everybody. I've been, open to everything, any questions, anything, because I cannot stand wasting my time or other people's time. I promise you, I won't waste your time as long as you do your part. I wanted you to see I just showed you the entire business, by the way, when you really see us getting into the next module, which is going to be on the first appointment and then the second appointment. It's going to be an in-detail conversation about what I just showed you. I'm going to give you the handouts. I'm actually going to give it to you. Now, people always ask me, well, why do you always give your stuff out? Listen, have you ever bought something like now with power tools? Now they package them in such a way that if you go to Home Depot and you steal, like a lot of people are doing, a certain power tool, unless it gets scanned and activated at the register, you can take it home and all you have is a big old paperweight. It's just not going to work. Our stuff is the same way. There are some of you that probably know more than me as to how to close the business, but until you know how to get into these things and generate these appointments, I know people that go to class after class after class, certification, and they go. And the point of it is that it just won't work without everything that we provide you, because we are 100% committed to the cause. As long as you're 100% committed. Right now, there have been some people that have been trying to get a hold of me. Look, once we get to know each other, we know that you're the real deal, and you know that we're the real deal. We will be joined at the hip, as long as it has to do with helping you make money. I don't really care about this, and I don't want to hear about this other stuff, and it doesn't matter. It's about you seeing that this is the real deal. Again, if you go to one of our events and say, you know what, the staff meeting sucks, then this is not for you. Thank God you didn't sign up. But if you've been to one, you're going to go to one. We really need you to get signed up to start the background, number one. Number two is so we can go ahead and get your appointments ready as well. All right. Well, what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. It is being recorded. I'm going to send it out to everybody. But just so you know, the way this works is you do have to take this course, and I'm doing the screenshot of it right now. You do have to do it live. So all of you that are here are done with the modules. I had several people telling me that they just couldn't attend they had a emergency with the Lakers or something. That's fine, but you're not going to get credit until you actually attend this live. And again, we have an exact record of who exactly was here for no other reason that I'm not going to repeat myself, just so you know. And I'm not going to be here tomorrow with 5 people on a one-on-one basis about, let me show you CalSTRS. It's done. I appreciate your time. I always promise you, we crammed 2 modules into one. So you're a third of the way there already. 2 more such nights and you're ready to go. But where we will take the time, just so you know, there's a lot of interaction. It's in the module 4, where we do the actual the play one, where we're going to do the role playing. And then we're going to call on you, and everybody's going to watch you screw it up. I'm not screw it up, but you know what I'm saying? Everybody's going to watch you work it out real quick. Everybody's going to put you on the spot. And then when you go see teachers, you're going to be like, man, this is a cakewalk. You're going to be thinking and sleeping, CalSTRS, payoff factors, age factors, like it's nothing, getting paid what you are worth. Last call for questions, comments, concerns, anything. I think I answered everything in the chat, everything in here. Okay, so somebody go ahead.
Javier,
yes.
When are we going to do the other modules? Next Monday?
Every Monday. Here's what happens. Every Monday at 7 p.m. we're going to do the modules because they just go round and around. But during the week, we're doing, like right now, we're doing the presenters this week, and we're doing closing training tomorrow as well, because we have people now that as long as they're up to snuff on the closing, we have appointments for you this week. Some of you that are going to come and observe this week are actually going to get a taste of what it's like to chase down a teacher, what it's like to, go through the school. I mean, I hadn't walked through a damn elementary school since I was in the 3rd grade, where I walked in there and, you walk through here, you go to the gate. So we're moving. Now, there's the general class, which is Monday nights, 7 p.m. So if anybody missed this one in person, live type of thing, they have to go ahead and wait till it cycles again. But all of you here next week are going to knock out another 2 modules because we're compressing. And some of you, now, you will not be in the running for presenting until A, you have joined, number 1, obviously. Number 2, you've been to and observed something. People tell me, I don't need to see it. Well, we need to see you. That's really the whole thing. Can you get there on time? Can you show up looking professional? Can you do this? And so just because somebody wants to come on board and play, it doesn't mean we allow them. I have nothing but great things to say about the observers we've had. And I just want to continue to do my part because, I got a reputation to keep with all these principals, police departments, and so on. They know that when I send somebody in there, because I'm not going to be at a lot of these things, they're good people. Next week, this week and next week, you don't even know who you are, but 2 of you are going to be presenting if you're up to the challenge already and closing. Are you ready? I don't know. And so that's why we're going to expedite. So we're going to reach out to some of you for some one-on-one training via webinar as well. All right? All right.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Yes. Is there any additional training this week?
There is for people that have been to an event as an observer already. What we're trying to do is just keep the funnel going. Does that make sense? Because there's no sense in going through the closing of this and that if you haven't been to one. We need everybody that's within driving distance, local, Frisco, you're more than welcome to everything. Anybody else, anywhere else? I'm talking about the local people that we really want them to at least observe before we go any further.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you so much. All right, so what I have here is Rochelle, Reginald, Monica. I got the 66th Street for you. Wednesday for Whitman for Reginald, and then for the presenters, I got Fernando. I've got Joy, and of course, I also have Monica. And that's my homework, guys. I mean, if you need something from me, let me know now because, like I said, I got a bunch of other stuff going on. All right. Well, thank you for your time. I apologize for one a little long, but we knocked 2 modules out in one night, and that's a great way to. I rather go
Awesome.
faster than too slow. All right, guys.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Bye. See
Thank
you
you.
Wednesday.
Bye.
Everyone, good night.